All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the base shop call for the SkyPoint agency, the FFL SkyPoint agency call. My name is Stevie. I'll be your host today, and I'm excited to be able to have a good buddy of mine, Sam Hankey, share with us how he's been killing it. Last month in June, he protected over 45 families using the IVR mortgage protection call-in leads. But not only that, like, I'm excited to be able to share with you guys what he spent, how he calls them, what the script is like, what the objections are, and his philosophies on these. Because here's what I've realized too. I wasn't blessed enough to have these when I was running business in the field. I could only imagine how much more profitable I would be if I did. Because once Sam shares his numbers with you, and I kind of tell you what I did didn't suck, but he made way more than I did. So like, I'm envious, I guess you can say, for all you virtual agents out there. So let's dive into it. Sam, hey, I appreciate you for hopping on, man. For those of our agents that haven't had a chance to know you, meet you, can you kind of share your quick story on like how long you've been here, how you fell into Family First Life, what you did prior, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, Steven. Well, thank you for having me on, man. I really look up to you, and a lot of your videos and a lot of your coaching has helped me a lot in my insurance career thus far. So to be on here and help kind of replicate that for other people is a big honor, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you. I got into insurance about 2.5 years ago. I got licensed in March of 2021, and I started off part-time, and I went full-time just maybe a few months later, quit my job, and I've been a full-time agent since. Majority of my career was spent in person in the field, running in my backyard. And then I did telesales for a little bit of amount of time in 2022 for about 3 to 4 months full time. I was a virtual agent, and I had some success. I ran a lot of final expense and a lot of internet data and a lot of aged mortgage or aged mail leads. And I wasn't super profitable. So I went back into the field, and I was in the field full time. And then once this lead program came out, and I realized how profitable you could be in terms of the cost per lead going down for mortgage protection, I said, hey, I'll try it. I'm willing to try anything to see if it works. And the lead game changes all the time. So I'm always eager to try out new leads. So I hopped right into it. And I had a good month of June. And so I've kind of just been experimenting and figuring it out along the way.
I love it, dude. See, the nice part too is like, I remember when Sam came in, because I remember I met you at the LA sales conference at the Dream Center. Right. And just being able to watch your progress, throughout the last few years, man, has been awesome. Because, dude, there's people that come into the business, and this is a new agent tip, by the way. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I know that sounds so cheesy. It really does, but it's so true. Because like when I was brand new, like my first month, I only protected like 5 families. My second month, I only protected like 12 families. You know what I mean? And there was guys that were here that were brand new that were smoking me on the leaderboard, protecting 20, 30, 40 families right off the bat. And guess what? None of those guys are here anymore. And so like, it's your own race. Don't compare your results to other people. But I say that because being able to watch your progression of sales is so awesome, Sam. You know what I mean? Because we had when I was heavily in the field, like we used to say like 10K a week or die. That's what we preached. And the reason why was because the elite producers would be able to do that. And for you to protect 45 families a week, that's on average 12 families, right? So to be able to hit that threshold requires a lot of work. And so it's not easy. It definitely isn't. It is simple for everybody to do. If you have the correct lead flow, if you knew what you're doing training wise and all that stuff, absolutely. But I will say that like, it takes a lot of hard work. So I respect you for the work you've done. So let's dive into it, man. Like, people don't know what IVR leads are, let alone like, we're literally just talking to somebody right outside of office right now at Andrew's lock-in. And I'm like, oh yeah, Sam's doing our call about the IVR leads. They're like, what is that? You know what I mean? So can you kind of share with people like, what are IVR leads, or what are the IVR mortgage protection leads that you're running?
Yeah. So, I mean, it might be safe to say and most people are familiar with what a regular mortgage protection lead is, right? So it's the same type of data is getting mailed out to clients. So it's a postcard, it's a letter in the mail. Instead of the client having to fill it out all the way and mail it back and put a stamp on it, all it is it's just like a deceptive little piece of like letter that just says, hey, call in for important information about your mortgage. It has a phone number and it has a mortgage protection ID number. And the client, so most people, it has a high return rate. So most people typically throw it away, but with these, they call in to a phone number, they talk to a robot, or they talk to a pre-recorded message, and all that the message says is the same thing that's on a regular mortgage protection card. Hey, Steve, you may qualify for a low-cost mortgage protection plan in the event to pay off your loan if you pass away or become disabled. Press 1 if you have health conditions, press 2 if you're a smoker, etc. And when they call in, their data is captured on the phone call, and that turns into a lead. And instead of having to wait, a couple of weeks to get that lead back in the mail, it's being sent to you online immediately.
Absolutely. That's cool, man. Because the other thing too is you can the game of mortgage protection that people don't know, especially brand new agents, it's the speed of the lead. Because when you buy a home, you're going to get 17 to 20 mailers. It's coming. But most of those people are handwriting them back. And so by the time they have to grab it from the mail, handwrite their information, go back to their mailbox, send it back to the lead vendor. The lead vendor has to scan it, send it to you as a lead. As a call-in lead, if they called in, you get that lead immediately. You get a text message to your phone, right, Sam? That says, hey,
Yeah.
This is your new client. This is their address. This is their phone number, all the information they put on there. And now you can call them almost immediately. By the time the other competitors have already gotten the lead, you already sold them. You know what I mean? So it's the speed of the lead. Being able to get in first is a big deal. The cool part about these IVRs too is like some of the information they're marking, like they're like pressing 1 for yes, 2 for no, right? Like, is your mortgage balance 362,000? Press 1 for yes, right? And then it's like, what's your age? And then they enter like 37 or whatever it is. And so with these leads, sometimes they go through all the prompts, sometimes they don't. It is what it is, right? Do you call them any different?
No, so for virtual, I've just been running the same schedule when I was running in the field. So Mondays and Thursdays are my dial days,
Yep.
and I'm just booking Zoom and FaceTime appointments. And the cool thing is if I get no-showed, I have an hour to book another 2 or 3 appointments.
Yep. So like, how are you, like, what's your phone script sound like? By the way, does anybody want to know what his phone script sounds like? I think I do. So if you do, drop a 1 in the chat. And let's see who actually wants the phone script. Sweet. So Sam, what does your phone script sound like when you're calling these leads?
Okay, so dude, anytime I work a new lead type, I always get so nervous about the phone script because I'm like, oh, I confuse myself and I get super anxious about it. Dude, the thing is with the phone script, it's fundamentally the same thing no matter the lead type.
Absolutely.
So I just simplified it down. Steve, hey, Steve, this is Sam. I'm getting back to you about the mortgage protection for 123 Main Street in Los Angeles. Is that correct?
Yep.
Cool. I'm just the field underwriter assigned to get the information back out to you later. It was just the insurance to pay off the loan if you pass away or become disabled. I'll put a quick note because I know you're busy. Everything's non-medical, so you don't have to do a health exam. They just have me set up a time to ask you some basic health questions. Nice. Are you working or retired?
I'm working.
Okay, perfect. And then Steven, are you married, single, widowed, divorced?
I'm married.
Okay, cool. We do everything virtual now, and it just takes about 10 to 15 minutes over Zoom or FaceTime. Do you know what time you and your spouse are both usually home from work on Tuesday or Wednesday?
We're at home. I get off by 5. I'll be home by like 5:30.
By 5:30? Okay. I don't have anything right at 5:30, but I do have a 6 or a 6:30. Which one works better for you?
6:30.
Okay, awesome. Do you have a pen or paper handy, Steve?
I do.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
I'll have you right. My name is Sam, and my last name is Hankey, Hanke, and this is just for the mortgage protection. And do you have an iPhone, Steve, or an Android?
I'm an iPhone.
Okay, cool. Have you ever used FaceTime before?
I have.
Okay, cool. I'll give you a FaceTime call tomorrow evening around 6:30. Is that fair?
That sounds good.
Okay, awesome. And I'll send you my insurance license with my ID. They have me talking to about 15 families this week, Steve. So is there any reason you wouldn't be home tomorrow around 6:30?
I'll be there.
Okay, awesome, Steve. Well, I look forward to speaking with you and helping you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. So simple and basic, like nothing different or crazy than anybody else. Here's the
Nothing
question
crazy.
I have. What if they're on an Android?
I just make it a Zoom call,
Okay.
and I'll get their email, and I will email them the Zoom link, but I'll text it to them as well. And then I've been using Calendly, so I have my schedule set up on a Calendly, and I just
Mhm.
type in their name, their email, so they get like an automatic reminder.
Yep. Cool. So, how often do you do a Zoom or FaceTime versus doing a phone call?
So, do phone calls, I've noticed I have a higher no-show rate if I just book a
Absolutely.
regular phone appointment.
Hmm.
So I've been pushing only Zoom and FaceTime, and then if I get any pushback on it, then I will say, okay, we can do it over the phone. But I don't give that option at the beginning.
Got it. Um, so if you go look, how many appointments are you running a week? Doing that?
30.
30. So like out of your 30 appointments, how many of them are set for Zoom or FaceTime?
I'd say like 25.
Wow. Okay. 25 out of the 30 appointments, you're going to be able to see the client.
Yeah, well, I'm not sitting 25, but 25 of them I'm booking for
You're
Zoom or
booking.
FaceTime. Yeah,
Right. Now, what's your show rate like out of those 30 that you book?
it's around 60%,
Okay. So about 20,
50 to 60. Yeah.
15 and 20. Okay, cool. Nice. Because here's the reason why, right? Like I was talking to an agent about this before, and like, don't get me wrong, we do a lot of telesales and we've adopted that here at Family First Life, which is awesome. And it's simpler because, if you have clients that don't know how to work technology, then, a phone call is very easy to do because they can answer the phone. But I can only imagine because I haven't done it yet. So therefore I can't say it. But I have done annual reviews on Zoom. I can only imagine that if my clients saw me, whether it's FaceTime or on Zoom, my closing rate will go through the roof because they can see me. It's just like I'm sitting across from the dinner table. They know I'm a real person. I'm not some guy in like Middle East trying to like steal their information, right? Um, they know that I have a family. You can probably hear my kids or whatever it is screaming around or whatever it is. Like they know I'm a real person. And so, like, do you feel, Sam, that if you're doing it over Zoom or FaceTime, you're closing them at a higher clip than you are over the phone?
Yeah, I feel more comfortable with it too, like doing the presentation because I can kind of see if they're engaged or not.
Right.
And I can kind of you can it's easier to tell the vibe from the client if they're interested, if they're serious about protecting their family
Right.
versus wasting 30 or 45 minutes over a phone appointment and you know not the client not being that engaged with it.
Yeah. I love that. Because you know what's funny? Like, I was thinking about this the other day, right? Like, I talked to my doctor on FaceTime. Like, a lot of us do. Like, what is it? They call it telehealth or whatever it is, right? Like, a lot of us do that nowadays. Like I have gout. I know. Like, people are like, what is gout? It sucks. Don't get it. But like, I have a rheumatology doctor or a rheumatologist, I guess you could say, and she hops on Zoom like every 3 months. Like, that's how we talk. And her office is down the street from me, by the way. I just refuse to go. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to sit in a waiting room and I don't know. That's just me personally. And so I was kind of like, wait a second, like that makes sense. You know what I mean? We do a lot of the consultation stuff over Zoom or on the phone nowadays. Like, why not? And so yeah, like Rachel said, telehealth is awesome, especially if you have kids. Absolutely. So I say that because like it's something that we're trying to adopt, and I'm glad that you've been doing it and you've been seeing really, really good results. Here's the cool part, you know, the lead spend of what you spent to protect those 45 families. How much did you spend a week on your leads, roughly, ballpark?
So you set it up by pieces of mail that you mail out, right? So
Hmm.
I was doing a capped limit of $1,000 a week, and some weeks there's more data, some weeks there's less data, but my limit was $1,000 a week.
Okay.
Um, and some weeks it was a little bit less. It was around $750 that I was billed. Sometimes it was 1,000, sometimes it was 1,200. Um, but for the total month of June, I spent $4,500.
Wow.
Yeah,
4,500 to protect 45 families. See, like, let me
which
tell you why that's crazy. Because when I ran face to face and I was doing protecting 40, 50 families, I was spending at least 8, 10, 12,000. It was about 2,000 a week. You know what I mean? And to be able to go, hey, I eliminated that, almost cut it in half. That's pretty cool. Cut it in half, wrote the same premium, and did it from the comfort of your home because you don't have gas compared to me driving around Southern California. That'd suck. You know what I mean? Like that that helps. You know, how much? So like, explain to them because I don't think new agents understand how the mailers work. Because it's not a buy per lead. It's not like traditional mortgage where a lead comes in, it's $82 a lead, and you get no matter how much they spent, the lead vendor, spent to generate that lead, it costs you $82 a lead. How do the mail drops work?
yeah, so you can select counties, and each county has a certain number of data that's available on average per week. And when you get a county, you're going to want to have to mail out to all the records that's available in order to get the return back. So some counties, if it's like a smaller county, there may only be 200 or 300 records available.
Right.
It's average have a between a 2 to 4% return on mail because people just call in, they don't have to fill something out. So there's a higher rate of people that are going to respond to the marketing and that are going to turn into a lead.
Right.
Um, so typically, if you spend $1,000 a week, you're going to get a 2 to 4% return on your mail that's mailed out. So, if you mail out 2,000 pieces, what's 2% of 2,000, Steve? I'm not that good at math.
40.
That's why I sell insurance.
40. You got to ask the
40.
agent.
Okay. Yeah. um, yeah. So you'll get a return rate. You'll get an average weekly return of between 30 to 40 or 45 leads, depending on your counties and depending on the records that are available and depending on how much you're investing every week. So every week I ended up getting between 30 to 45 leads, and I would make between $300 to $500 a week in order to schedule 25 to 30 appointments.
Right.
And out of those 25 or 30 appointments, I would sit between 15 to 18 families. On the low end, I would sit 10 families. And then I would usually close between 7 to 12 policies.
Got it. See, that's what was interesting. So I'm assuming too, right off the bat, initially you had to stack the deck, right? Because if you're getting 40 leads, 30 to 40 leads a week, you're not going to set literally 30 appointments. You're going to have to set maybe the first week only like 17, and you're going to supplement the rest with like other leads, right? Just so we're well aware that the numbers make sense. But eventually you do this over 2 months. When you stack the deck long enough, it's easy to book 30 mortgage protection IVR leads. Because what happens is that the new batch that comes in that week, you'll probably book about 15 of them, right, out of the 30, 40. And then you'll book 2 from the week before, 2 from the week before that, 3 or 4 from the week before that. And then it just adds up. That's what we call stacking the deck in your favor.
Yep.
So I'm assuming your lead stack for your IVR leads has been pretty big.
Yeah. So I now have like 200 leads that in my backlog that I'm just going through and organizing, like, oh, not interested, no, sold,
Right.
follow up, revisit.
Got it. Cool. Well, I like that. What's the so the next thing that I want to ask you too in terms of scheduling. So you literally schedule appointments on Monday for appointments on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you schedule appointments on Thursday for Friday, Saturday. Do you ever one call close, or do you work strictly on booked appointments?
I've just been working strictly on booked appointments.
I like it too.
My one call close skill is pretty mid. So I could probably improve on that.
Yeah. But you know what, it's funny to me, and I'm just saying this publicly, and to each his own. If you don't feel this way, then cool, good for you. But for me, I do. I can't imagine, like Sam, like when I was in the field, I knew on Mondays and Thursdays, I was gonna be on the phone for like 8 to 10 hours a day, but I had to because it was gonna set the appointments for me to go run during the week. Like I knew I had to do it, right? And I was okay with it because I only had to do it 2 out of the 7 days. There are some people that literally will sit on the phone 6 to 7 days a week, making 3, 4, 500 calls a day. Like, no thanks. I'm not doing that. Like, I freaking, like Sean says, I'd rather eat a bag of thumbtacks before I do that. You know what I mean?
Same.
And so, like, for me, I switched my philosophy on that because people are like, well, what is your show rate? Because no shows are so much higher virtual. Absolutely. So instead of booking 30, I booked 40. But guess what? When I was face to face and you were face to face, one of the objections that we got that we never get virtually, why do you have to come to my house? Why do you have to come over? Why can't you just mail me something? Guess what? You eliminate that objection. You know what I mean? And so, like, you can run way more appointments in a shorter time period, and you don't got to worry about drive time. See, like I set appointments when I was face to face every hour 15 because I lived in LA or lived in Southern California. So traffic sucks. But I was always running like 15, 30, 40 minutes behind my appointments, like naturally because of drive time. You don't got drive time. You don't have gas. So you can see more people. And I'd rather wake up on Monday going, all right, cool. I got to crush the phone today. Not going to like it, but I'm going to do it because I have to, right? So I'm going to crush the phone today, set 15, 20 appointments for Tuesday, Wednesday. On Tuesday and Wednesday, when I wake up, life is not miserable. You know why? I got 10 appointments. Life does not suck. I know I'm going to make money and protect families today. That's the beauty of running appointments virtually. Now, once again, to each his own. So people go, no, one call close only. All right, whatever. If that's your style, do it. I'm not doing it. I rather run a healthy blend of both, honestly. I rather run traditionally more of the appointments. And if the client's available while I'm calling them to do a presentation, screw it, I'm in. I'm not going to say no, right? But most people they're working, they're driving, they're picking up their kids from school, they're at the grocery store, whatever it may be. And I'm okay with that, right? But when I call them to set that appointment, I'm going to see them kind of like I'm running appointments. So I love that. On the phone, what are the most common objections you get?
I mean, sometimes, so with these leads, sometimes they don't know what it actually is,
Okay.
just because this is the first lead that's coming in. So it's the first one they're responding to. So they're not entirely aware of what exactly mortgage protection might be. So that's why I always kind of give that intro at the beginning. Can you mail me the information? Or that, I mean, those are like just you get the same ones no matter the lead type. So it's a lot of times it's, oh, I'm not interested, or what is mortgage protection? What is this? What's the price? Can you tell me what the price is? That's the biggest one I get.
What do you say when
they
you
just
say
want the
that?
budget. I say, hey, perfect, Steve. That's why I'm calling. We work with 50 different insurance carriers for California. It's based off of your age, health, and habits, but you can customize it to fit your needs and your budget. They just have me set up a time to ask you the health questions in order to get them sent out to you. Are you working or retired?
Nice. Right back into the script.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. See, like when people ask, they're like, what is mortgage protection question, right? And we've been doing this like release presentation thing where like agents have to present to me before they go out in the field. And my whole thing is like, can you describe what mortgage protection is in one line? Because like when like if I called you, Sam, I go, hey Sam, this is Steven. I'm getting back to you about the form you sent back in for the property at 1234 Main Street with JP Morgan Chase, right? And then you're like, yeah, because that is your info, right? And I go, cool, I just got to verify the information. And I go, hey, is this your age, date of birth, whatever it is? And then you go, yeah. And you're like, wait, what is this for again? When you say that, I can't go, well, it's these like mortgage protection things. And it's what it's supposed to do is like pay off the house in case of a death or disability. But what really happens is like, if you don't have the house in a trust, then what your house may be, you're talking too much. See, like when people say, what is this again? The answer is, it's the program it's the insurance that pays off the house in case of a death or disability. Boom, one line, straight and simple to the point. We're good, right? And that's what I see a lot of new agents struggle with is like, regardless, even if they're running final expense, they go, what is this for again? It's like, it's the insurance policy that helps pay for funeral and burial coverage. Some people go, it's the policy that like, funerals are anywhere from like 15 to 25,000 and cremations anywhere from 2,000 to like 5,000, sometimes a little bit more. So, we put insurance policy in place so your family doesn't have to GoFundMe or rate. I'm like, God, they're going to hang up. Right? Like short and sweet, straight to the point. And I love that. Here's what's funny too, Sam, and I want you to talk about it. So like you ran age mailers, right? I'm a big fan of age mailers because I think there's so much premium in there because there's a lot of bad agents, in my opinion. But like when you run age mailers, you get the same 3 objections. I don't remember filling it out. I'm no longer interested. I already got it taken care of. This is for everybody that's a new agent on the call. Do you get those same objections? Dialing
Yes.
brand new IVR? Yes. This is why I always tell people, like, regardless of the lead type, if you can't overcome those 3 objections, it does not matter. Right? Like I heard you call people the other day and they were like, yeah, I'm not interested. And I'm like, damn, that's a brand new lead. I already got it taken care of. Yeah, some guy just came out. Damn, didn't call that lead quick enough. You know what I mean? What do you do when you get those objections? What are your objection rebuttals for those 3 objections?
Okay. What was the first one? Well, I'll whatever it is, I'll say perfect. That's why I'm calling.
Right. So let's say it's the I don't remember filling it out.
Well, that objection is hilarious because they had to call in for it to be
Ain't
a lead.
it?
So they'll say I didn't call anybody, and it's hilarious. So I'll say perfect, Steven. That's why I'm calling. This is just an internal requirement to release liability and get the information out to you. It's just the insurance to pay off the loan if you pass away or become disabled. Are you working, retired, disabled?
Right. Got it. What about if they say I'm no longer interested?
Oh, perfect, Steve. That's why I'm calling. I'm not interested either. Is that because the insurance was too expensive, or was it because you couldn't qualify for it?
Got it. What about if they say, yeah, I already got it taken care of. Guy came out like last week.
Oh, perfect. That's why I'm calling. It's just an internal requirement to release liability. My job's just to get all the options sent out to you and to go over it. What you do with them is up to you. Are you single, married, divorced, widowed?
Love it. So you love the AAA, the agree, acknowledge, ask a question, and then you go ask, literally go right back into the phone script. I love that. And this is so funny because it's like people always go, no, Sam's doing something different. No, we do the same stuff. We just do it more. We have more leads and we have more reps, and that's all. That's it. We're more comfortable doing it. I saw you the other day make a call and a client said something stupid, and like you were like, you hung up and you just moved on to the next lead, right? One of the things that I see a lot of new agents struggle with is they're like emotionally attached to that client. You know what I mean? Like they get an objection, they can't overcome it or whatever it is. It's a no sale or whatever it is. And it like kills them literally, emotionally. Like they can't stop thinking about that client. What do you do when you call leads? Because you're not going to set everybody you call, right? What do you do when you have appointments where you don't close? I'm like, what is your mentality behind that? Your mindset behind that?
Well, dude, so I mean, it is 100% mindset, and it was like something that took me a couple months to like correct, and like because I go on this roller coaster where I'm like doing great, then I go on the down, then I go back up again. So I kind of had how to figure out how to just stay level through it all. And so my whole like I had to define what my goals were in insurance, because a lot of times we get set on this mission and it's not even why we got into insurance in the first place, right? Like so we get, oh, I got to be a 40K producer, I got to hit this certain level of status or build this certain team and hit, get all this achievement or success.
Right.
And dude, it can drive you crazy, and you can just be in the motions, not like going through the motions and just miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And that will reflect in your dials, that will reflect in your appointments, that will reflect in your presentations, that will reflect in your family and your relationships. So dude, my whole goal, I had to get back to my big reason why I'm in insurance. I got into insurance in the first place just to make some extra money to be able to focus on the things I love to do, like acting, theater, stuff like that. Somewhere along those 2 years, I lost sight of that and I stopped doing the things I love. And I just became miserable. Like, why am I making all these dials for no reason? Like, I'm just miserable.
Right.
So dude, I kind of just I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go back to doing the things I love. And then I'm just going to focus on talking to the people that want my help and talking to the people that want to talk about insurance. Cause I can only control how many appointments and how many dials I make every week. I can't control how many people are going to buy. I can't control how many people I'm actually going to like sit with. There's a ratio for how we figure these things out and how to make more of them show up. But I have no control whether or not someone's going to be on Zoom or whether or not someone's going to be home when I drive to their house.
Right.
So my whole goal was, I've been in this business long enough to understand what a laydown is. And I believe in myself enough that I can go out and talk to enough people every week to go see the laydowns in order to make the income I need to focus on the things I love to do. So like June was not the hardest month I've ever worked in insurance. I've worked a lot harder. But it was my biggest month I've ever issued paid and I've ever produced. And I really do think that's just a result of focusing on talking to people that want to talk about insurance and being able to sit down and make the dials, but as well as doing the things that I love to do, which is why I got into insurance in the first place.
I love that. Dude, that's one of the things, right? Like, I always say, like, people lose sight of what they're doing this business for. And it's fascinating too, because like there's some people out there that go like, burnout is fake. And I'm like, okay, like you haven't done this long enough to understand what burnout is. You know what I mean? Like burnout is definitely real. I was at a meeting the other day with shoot, Sam, do you remember Zig Ziglar?
Yeah.
Okay. So his son now runs his leadership academy, and his name is Tom Ziegler. And so Tom was delivering this speech and he said, did you guys know that last year, 29% of the workforce resigned or quit their position because of mental health? And I was like, whoa, that's a third of the people, right? And then he said, well, mental health is such a broad term. Let's zero in on it, right? And he said, once we zeroed in on it, 59% of that was because of burnout or stress, that they quit their career, job, whatever profession, right? And so like I find that's like so interesting, because I'm like, that's literally more than half of the people that said that. And then you literally have these idiot gurus out there going, you know, burnout is fake. You just don't blah, blah, blah. I'm like, God, okay, sure, buddy. Like, you know what I mean? Wow, burnout is fake while you're out on the water, skiing, jet skiing, riding your yacht, but your agents are working. But that's just me. No comment. I'm just talking crap at this point. But I say that because how do I not have that? Is I gotta keep the main thing. The main thing was I did this for my family. And so like when I was with my family, I was gonna be with my family. Like the worst feeling you can have as an agent is when you're with your family, you're thinking about work. And when you're at work, you're thinking about your family. I dealt with that a lot when I was brand new, especially the first year or two in the business. Toward the back end, I'm like, nope, I have 15 appointments the next 2 days. Babe, I'll see you. Like when I'm between this time to this time, if it ain't emergency, don't call me because I'm seeing families. You know what I mean? And then it's like when I'm at home with my family, my wife and my kids, I'm like, if that call ain't 911 on the agent's part, I ain't answering it because I'm with my family. And you have to build that in. I don't think it's necessarily work-life balance, because I don't think there is a balance. I think it's work-life harmony. It works together. Does that make sense? Like balance basically means they're both even. I don't think that'll ever be. Like I still work more than I spend time with my family. I absolutely do. But the time that I spend with my family is way more intentional. That's a good word. Than it was before. Right. And so like the quality time, although it's small compared to the work, it's still more effective than what I did way back then. You know what I mean? But I love what you said, man, because I only sold the laydowns too. And people ask me all the time, like when you get a lead that, you know, says something stupid when you book it, I'm like, dude, I just called the next one. Like it wasn't that big of a deal for me. I was just trying to, like, you heard me say this the other day on Zoom. I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm only trying to talk to the people that wanted the insurance. If the guy knew I was coming for life insurance, I'm game. You know what I mean? If the guy wanted to say something stupid on the way there, I'll respond. I'm not going to start it, but I'll respond. right? Like it is what it is. And so like
Yeah.
that was my mentality. It was like, if I called you and I'm like, and I was like, hey, Sam, this is Steven. And you're like, take me off your list. Stop calling, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, take him off the list next. Like I wouldn't be like, how do I overcome that objection? I'm not thinking that hard. I'm like,
Dude,
next lead.
dude, Trey said that on the back to basics call this morning, is like, this business is 90% mindset, 10% skill set. And a lot of times, I think sometimes like I struggle with it where I'm too self-critical, and I look at that no sale, or I'll look at that appointment. I'm like, oh man, I wonder what I could have done to be better in that presentation. And that's such a small aspect of this business, because you can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
Yep.
And it's better for your mental health, and it's better for your business if you just focus on going to go find the laydowns, because there's always a certain number of people in that batch of leads that are waiting for you to call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And dude, the other part too is like, I don't know, like, dude, we're like trying to convince a client to buy is like the worst thing you can do, because we have chargebacks.
Yeah.
I want you to, like, I'm not trying to sell you insurance. I want you to buy insurance from me. There's a difference in that. You know what I mean? When you buy, you made the decision, not me. When I sell you, convince you, twist your arm, like try to guilt trip you, whatever it is, I did that. Right. And so, yeah, man, I'm with you, man. Thanks for that, by the way. Let's dive into, by the way, if y'all have any questions, please don't drop it in the chat because we'll lose it. Drop it in the Q&A section and we'll hit them in the last like 15 minutes or so of the call. So now that you have the appointment set, do you send them your license? Do you send, like, what do you do? I'm just curious what your processes are.
Yeah, so I send a personal text message, and I'll just say, hey, Steve, this is Sam Hankey. I got our appointment scheduled to go over the mortgage protection eligibility check tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. I'll give you a FaceTime call then. Here's my license with my ID. Looking forward to speaking with you and helping you. And then I'll shoot a reminder text the morning of, and then like an hour before.
Got it. Okay. So when you call them, let's say you call me now, it's at the appointed time. How do you open the call? What do you say?
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, dude, I'm doing good. I think I sent you my insurance license with my ID. Did you get a chance to look at those?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Department of Insurance, they just require everybody, or for me to send that to every client. So what I do, Steve, is I'm a field underwriter and an insurance broker. So field underwriter, I work with a ton of insurance carriers, and I specialize in mortgage protection as well as regular life insurance and retirement protection as well. Mortgage protection is just insurance when you refinance or you buy a new house. It's coverage to help pay off the loan, pay down the loan, or protect the equity in the event you pass away or become disabled.
Nice. And then you
Cool.
just go
Yeah.
right to financial inventory after that?
Yeah, right into financial inventory. I give a short, after that short intro, I just kind of go over, hey, I'm just going to ask you 2 minutes of some health questions, an agenda, pretty
Setting
much.
the table. Yep.
Yeah, setting the table. When we find something that fits your needs and fits your budget, Steve, we'll submit a request for coverage to the insurance carriers. Request for coverage, they check your medical history, social, driver's license number for how you'd be funding the policy if you were to get approved, because they need to think about it more than you do, because they're the ones taking on the risk of paying out the claim if you passed away tomorrow. But they'll give you 30 days to review the policy and make any changes, like increase it, decrease it, or swap it out.
Cool. Got it. There you go. So after you collect the information, you show them the options. Typically, there's only 2 to 3 objections at close. One of them being, I got to think about it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the biggest one.
How do you overcome? What is your rebuttal for? I got to think about it.
Hey, that's perfect, Stephen. Like I talked about at the beginning, the insurance companies, they need to think about it more than you do. Is it the coverage amount, or is it the price? Is it a little bit too expensive?
Got it. So you're pitching it right. You're steering it directly at price and coverage amounts right then and there.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of go about it in different ways. Just I've experimented with it enough, but I'm not that good with rebuttals and objection handling. So at the end, if they say they want to think about it, it makes me really uncomfortable. So I'm just trying to breeze through that block and just to see if I can get them to move forward. Um, just because a lot of dealing with that is the intro, and it's with the financial inventory and asking the right questions. Because realistically, we shouldn't be getting to think about it at the end, but I still do every now and then.
So you got a client that actually needs to think about it. Like you push them a little bit, they still go, "Hey, I still got to think about it." Do you just hang up, or like what's your process there?
Yeah. So Steve is I understand you need to think about it. Um, Man, dude, you're stumping me now on the call in front of everybody.
I'm just
Just
curious
kidding.
what you would do, because for me, once again, I'm only trying to sell the laydowns. So like if I push you
Yeah.
twice and you're like, "Nah, but I still do," I'm like, "Cool, think about all you need," and I just hang up.
Yeah.
If
That's
I
that's
haven't,
pretty much how it ends.
yeah.
Because otherwise it gets pretty ugly, and it gets to the point where I'm like, dude, so you just don't love your family then.
That's funny. Um, that's hilarious. See, like my whole point is like I just try to like get rid of that. I'm like, cool, we'll just decline you for the coverage. They're like, "Well, I don't want to decline," and I'm like, "Well, you either have to apply to decline." Like, I see like 15 to 20 families a day. I don't have time to do this, and we're so backed up to begin with. Like, they don't have me circle back, because if we did, we'd never be able to get to them. All the new folks, and so like face to face, I would literally circle decline on the financial inventory and slide it across the table, make them sign it, which was funny because a lot of people, because you took it away from them, they would actually go apply, right?
Hmm.
Would you ever call people back if they did go, "Hey, I got to think about it, give me a few days"? Like, would you actually call them back in a few days?
If I was pretty slow on lead flow and I saw them in my like on my account on the website, I've called them back, and I've been able to do applications that way, but it's few and far between, and it
Yeah,
is not a sustainable business practice. So
absolutely.
I'd much rather go for, hey, okay, let's just decline the coverage. Um, and I just try to let them know we don't have a callback policy. Um,
That's good.
so
No callback
you know
policy.
we have the office has a no callback policy. That's because a lot of times families have said they needed to think about it, and then unfortunately they've been diagnosed with a medical condition or something happened, and they had no insurance in force. And the people that the family gets upset at, Steve, it's not the family getting upset at themselves. They get upset at us for not
Right.
helping them make a decision. So unfortunately, I have to decline the coverage for you.
Cool. Got it. What if they say they got to talk to their kids?
Hey, Steve, I totally understand. You need to talk to kids about the coverage and if it'll protect them, or is it more about if you can afford the monthly payments?
Like the coverage.
Okay, perfect, Steve. So what I'll actually go ahead and do is we'll start the request for coverage, because the insurance companies, they need to give you a thumbs up before you have anything to talk about with the kids. Um, but I want to make sure this is something that actually helps you and it doesn't hurt you. So if you passed away tomorrow, would $20,000, or would 15 months of mortgage payments, would that actually protect the kids?
Got it. That's good. So you're basically using is it going to hurt or help?
Yeah, I want to make sure it's something that helps them. But if they understand the coverage and if they understand the price, if it's affordable, Steve, why don't we just do it? You, if you die tomorrow, your kids are going to need this coverage, to be honest.
Right. Nobody got it. My favorite line is like, nobody got a death benefit check and returned it back to the insurance company. You know what I mean? Like nobody
Yeah.
wished they got less insurance. Like that's really weird. So cool, man. Well, hey, Jordan has a question he wants to ask. At what point in the presentation do you establish the reason why?
So that's during the financial inventory. So once I collect all the information I need and I can look at what their mortgage is, what their income is, who the beneficiary is going to be, if it's a husband and wife, their mortgage payment is, $3,000 a month, and the wife only makes 2,500 and the husband makes 5,000. It's very easy to say, hey, Steve, I'm assuming if you passed away tomorrow, it'd be pretty hard for Janelle to make the monthly payment on her own.
Yep.
What would that look like for her? Would she be able to make it on her own, or do you think she would try and keep the house?
It'd be very tough.
Yeah. And if it was really tough, would it make sense to try and keep the house, or do you think she'd probably sell it or downsize or move in with family?
She might, I mean, that's a great question. We don't know what she would do. I mean, I'm assuming she would try to keep the house, but if she couldn't keep the house, then she would probably move in with her family.
Hmm. And do you, as of today, if you passed away tomorrow, do you guys have anything that would help offset the cost of the mortgage? Anything like life insurance, 401k, IRAs?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna pull up some options here for you. Just to the good news is you guys are young and healthy, except for the gout. But what we can go ahead and do is pull up some options to see what we can get you guys qualified for.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I like that. Because my whole thing is like, dude, if they don't have a reason why to buy from you, they won't. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of agents, what they do is they breeze through the financial inventory and they're just trying to collect information and they're trying to make this very transactional. What's what's your date of birth? Do you smoke? What's your medical conditions? How much do you make? What do you do for work? Okay, cool. Here's your three options. Like it's very transactional instead of asking questions like what you're saying. I learned this when I was very, very new in this business. The better questions you ask, the better answers you get. And so like for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, hey, let me ask you this, Sam. If something were to happen to you, how would, so and so, how would that look like? Like you said, do they have any insurance policy in place? Would they move in with their family? How old are the kids? So obviously the kids can't get a job. So that means they need to go get a second job. Or like I would put all those things and then, literally paint the picture. Here's the other thing. If people don't know what they're going to do, it's even better for you. Here's a tip for mortgage protection. If they go, oh yeah, if I die, my wife will move in with her sister because she lives in next door, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Then we got to pay the whole house off or we got to buy enough time just to be able to take the equity out, right? If they go, you know what, Steve, I really don't know what I would do. I really don't know what she would do. Yeah, she might do that. She might not do that. Right. Because we don't know, we have to buy time. Because we don't know, we have to buy the time. We have to give her at least a year or two because we don't know how long it's going to take for her to grieve. We don't know what the real estate market's going to look like at the time. We don't know what the interest rates might be like, right? Because we don't know, we have to buy the time. Whatever they say, that's the reason why we're here. You know what I mean? So, Sam, I appreciate you, man. Do you have anything you want to close out and leave us with before we wrap this call up?
No, dude, I thank you for having me on, man. I hope it helped people. If
Absolutely.
anybody has any questions after the fact or concerns, just feel free to. I'll put my number in the chat. You guys can
Absolutely.
text me.
Or, Sam, they can hop on Zoom
Oh yeah,
and ask you there because that's what they're
yeah,
supposed to do, right? I'm just
yeah.
saying. I'm just saying that's why we have the Zoom community. It's not their
Don't text me. Go on Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Hey man, I appreciate you, dude. Seriously, I thank you so much for hopping on and sharing this with us because um, you know, it's the little things like when I was a brand new agent, I wasn't hopping on a call to basically listen to the whole 50 minutes or whatever it was. I'm trying to find the one thing that you could have done that gives me a new perspective to implement in my business that might literally change my business. It wasn't like I look at it like playing golf, right? Like I really suck at playing golf. And so like when I was trying to play golf in the beginning, like every ball I hit was going straight to the right. And so my buddy Kev, he's a pro golfer. And he walked by me at the range and he's like, oh, dude, just do this. Like literally, just do this. And I was like, what? And so like I started doing what he did, and every ball went straight. Right. And so many times we're not trying to restructure, recreate your sales presentation. We're just going to retweak a little bit of it. Be like, hey, ask that question differently. You might want to ask that question here or not here. Hey, this is what you sound like when you say that. Say this instead. Right. We're not trying to change the entire thing. We're just trying to make little tweaks. And we make those little tweaks, subtle tweaks, make big differences. So, Sam, I appreciate you, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you cross that stage this year for massive, massive amounts of premium. If it's Hall of Fame, that's your goal. I'm rooting for you. Hopefully, you're chasing that FFL cruise. That's going to be
Yeah, that'd be fun. That's gonna be blast.
Absolutely. So I appreciate you, man. If you have any, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you, guys.